For those of you that didn't see, Blizzard announced that there is going to be an AWC this year. As you guys may or may not know, HOTS was officially canceled, which as a player and as a competitor, it's nice to see that your game is still cared about. I can't really speak too much for HOTS because I don't know enough about it, but it's good to see that Blizzard's still investing time and money into WoW. So the biggest announcement this year is that WoW is going to be crowdfunded. So after last year's BlizzCon, I felt like the viewership really represented that there was still a passion for WoW esports. There was collectively, over 100,000 viewers, maybe even more, maybe even upwards of like the high 100,000 viewers for BlizzCon, which is really, really good numbers. I think if I'm remembering correctly, and if I actually have the right info, I think like when Wrath was out, I think MLG peaked around like 200K or something for like the best WoW tournament ever, or the most viewed WoW tournament ever. So it was kind of close to like the Wrath numbers. I'm not really sure if that's representing just the new expansion. I'm not really sure if that's representing that NA versus NA, which I think does kind of have something to do with it. I think that there's always kind of like a little bit of hype around NA teams in the finals. I think there's always a little bit of hype around the new expansion. So I definitely am happy to see Blizzard investing more. What I have to say, though, is I'm a little surprised that the base prize pool didn't go up. I was definitely anticipating a prize pool increase. That's definitely something I was anticipating after those numbers, so I'm happy that we got something. But I do think that in a perfect world, that the base prize pool probably should have gone up, in my opinion. I would have liked to see it at 500K at minimum. I think overall my goal, or I guess not really my goal, my hope and my dream is that it will eventually be a $1 million prize pool. That I feel like that's like the benchmark for just, a ton of hype. You can just say, there's $1 million on the line. That's just such a life-changing amount of money. So that's my goal. Now with the crowdfunding, I believe that Blizzard stated, and I could be wrong about this, that it is 25% of the funds are going to WoW Esports, and 25% of the funds are going to MDI. So I'm not 100% sure on this, but so about 50% of the money of them selling the pets, which I haven't talked about yet, is going split 25-25 into their two different organizations this year. So I don't really watch MDI much, but I actually have I have a lot of respect for MDI. I think that those guys work just as hard. I definitely think that MDI, it's their own skill set, it's their own talent. It's
but we'll always watch you less than 3.
I need to turn this off. It's a different aspect of the game. You know what I mean? It's a different aspect of the game. So I'm totally fine with MDI having big prize pools, more success. I don't really focus too much on MDI though, so I don't actually know what the prize pools are. So I'm just kind of sticking to the AWC for this part, but 25% goes to the AWC. So I'm not really sure how much money Blizzard makes in their shop. I don't really pay too much attention. I also don't know how much they make in terms of toys, if they ever even sold a toy. So I know they sell pets, I know they sell mounts, but I don't know if they've ever sold a toy. So right now they're doing a toy. I'm not really sure how I feel about that, because I feel like out of pets and mounts, toys are probably the least incentive to buy. I don't know how many toy collectors there are out there. I know there's people that want all the pets. I know there's people that want all the mounts. I know there's achievements for having pets and mounts. I'm just not sure if there's incentive to actually buy a toy outside of actually just wanting to support WoW Esports, which is okay if that's the case. If that is the case, I kind of feel like we're not really going to see a huge ramp up in prize pool. I'm not sure how much this toy is going to cost, but unless Blizzard decides to release a mount and or a pet, I think that the prize pool won't really get increased that much, especially with only 25% of it going to the prize pool. It could be a really, really small increase, which is something that I obviously don't want to see. I would like to see it be much more. Like I said, I want that $1 million prize pool. Now, I don't even want to attempt to do the math on this, but if the WoW prize pool is at 250K and I want it to be at $1 million, how much does that have to mean they have to sell in pets to get 25% of that to be 750,000? I'll let you guys do that because my brain has been off for 15 years, I don't even want to try and think, but Yeah, so they 3 million apparently. They would need to sell $3 million in pets. Is that going to happen? Probably not. Probably not. But you never know. So, like I said, I would definitely like to see a mount added. I think a mount would be a way bigger incentive. I think it'd be really cool. It's something that you can actually use in arena games. You could start off on it. So I would love to see a mount come out. Maybe they have plans for that. That would be cool. So that's my opinion on the prize pool for the AWC. Now the smaller prize pools, such as the online cups, which there's going to be 12 of this year instead of the previous 9, is the same amount of money. So with that being said, I personally feel like the online cup prize pools are not that bad. They're not that bad. It's something that I would like to see go up a tiny bit. You know, when you win a little bit of money from these prize pools, it doesn't feel bad. There's going to be 12 of them. That's it's $10,000 invested per cup. So it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. It's something that I think is totally reasonable. Maybe if it got doubled at some point in the year. So instead of last year it was 9 tournaments, this year it's 12 tournaments. If they cut it down to 6 tournaments, they could literally have the prize pool doubled. But I don't know if that's perfect. That's not really a perfect ideal, but ideal situation. So just a tiny bit of prize pool increase for the online tournaments. I think they're like right around the mark. With that being said, the structure of the tournaments as a player is kind of aggravating. So I would like to hear your opinion as a viewer. So the way the tournaments are going to work is 6 weeks in a row, one after another. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as a competitor we play. So last year we had the on and off break. It was EU, NA, EU, NA, EU, NA, and those were the 6 weeks. So it was the same 6 weeks timeline, but we had a break in between every other week. It kind of allowed us to get a little bit of a break. It gave us a chance to get a little bit of composure back and maybe learn new comps, so on and so forth. But now what it's going to be is that it's all 6 weeks in a row, just hammered out one after another, no break in between. Right now I'm a family man, I'm a dad, I'm a streamer. It's going to be really difficult for me to have my weekends completely dedicated to these tournaments because the weekends is the only time I get stuff done. So obviously everyone else is in a much different situation. So I'm not speaking for everyone here. I'm not saying that the tournament structure is bad. I'm saying it's a little aggravating for me as a player. I'm not sure if other players out there feel the same. As the 6 weeks all consecutively, I think that's really, really difficult to do one after another. In the same sense, it's nice to kind of get it all out of the way. But another thing that's frustrating as a player is that EU plays Friday, NA plays Saturday, and then on Sunday, EU plays and then NA plays. So as a player, that means half the day I'm watching the European players, and then the other half of the day, I'm competing myself, and it could be all the way until midnight, which has happened before, for the tournament to get done. So my entire Sunday is waiting. So having EU and NA on the same day is really, really tough for me as a player, and that being 6 weeks in a row is really, really difficult. So I'm not sure how you guys feel about that from a viewer perspective, but I can't imagine that people are going to want to watch a tournament for 12 hours a day. You know what I mean? It's going to be really long. It's going to be really grindy. So I'm not sure if this is the best system for them. But I already know that it's going to be really tough. I'd rather have it EU Thursday, NA Friday, EU Saturday, NA Sunday. Broken up just a little bit more. It's tough for me. It's tough for me. I'm not sure how it is for other players. I'm not sure how it is for viewers, but this is just my thoughts on it. I expressed it before when they originally released this, that in the last cup of last year, it was 3 weeks in a row where it was just EU, NA, all 3 weeks in a row. And now it's that, except twice as bad. Instead of 3 weeks in a row, it's 6 weeks in a row. So it's tough. It's going to be really tough. All right, so moving forward, we talked about the prize pool for BlizzCon, which I'm still not super stoked about. If we get to that $1 million prize pool, I would be stoked, but I think that there should be more of a base put down by Blizzard, and they shouldn't rely as much on crowdfunding. And I also would like to see them kind of implement more than just a toy. You know, I feel like the toy is not super exciting. We talked about the structure of the online tournaments. So now what I want to talk to you about is the structure of the two LAN tournaments that the European teams and the North American teams compete in. So there's going to be two online seasons. There's going to be two online seasons of 6 cups each. So that's the 12 cups. So for the first set of online cups, all 6 of them, the top 4 teams make it to the LAN from EU and NA. So that means 4 EU and 4 NA teams are going to a tournament of 8 to compose the first LAN. All right. Now it's going to be the same thing for the next set of tournaments. 4 EU, 4 NA. From the first LAN, the first place team qualified to BlizzCon, similar to last year. For the second LAN, first and second qualify for BlizzCon, which is a little different than last year because only first made it. Now, what's different this year is that only one team from points qualifies to BlizzCon. So you're telling me that we are spending an unbelievable amount of time in 12 tournaments where only one team can make it. Last year it was 3. Think about that for a second, chat. Last year it was 3. There's going to be 12 online tournaments where only one team goes to BlizzCon from points. All right? Only one. Last year, the move would not have made it to BlizzCon. I don't remember the EU rankings, but think about that for a second. The move would not have made it to BlizzCon because they were second place and they qualified from points. Okay? Now think about this in a reverse situation. Imagine we lose the grand finals and we're 30 points away from the move and we don't make it to BlizzCon. We won BlizzCon. We won the whole tournament. But there's a chance that we could have missed out by this much because only one team qualifies from online. I don't like that structure at all. It's basically, it feels very all or nothing in the live LAN tournaments. All right? Now there's another situation that bothers me. Generally speaking, the most competitive teams at BlizzCon are NA and EU, generally speaking. All right? So the first LAN with a $50,000 prize pool with 4 EU, 4 NA, and the second LAN with a $50,000 prize pool with 4 EU, 4 NA are going to be more difficult than BlizzCon itself. This is the first year where I personally feel getting to BlizzCon is going to be harder than BlizzCon. That's personally how I feel. So when you go to BlizzCon, there's going to be a max of 3 EU teams. No, 4 EU teams or 4 NA teams. There's only 5 total. So it could literally be 1 NA, 4 EU. It could be 2, 3. It could be reversed 1, 1, 4. It's just crazy. So to me, the structure of the entire year seems pretty disappointing. It feels like there's so many eggs in one basket. Like you have to do crazy well the whole year to qualify from points. And then you hope that you have the chance to win one of these LANs to go to BlizzCon, which the point I'm making is that winning the LAN to get to BlizzCon is going to be more difficult than winning BlizzCon. That's what's crazy. I think at bare minimum, 2 teams at the top point earners should qualify for BlizzCon at the bare minimum. I thought 3 was a really good number, but I think 2 at bare minimum. The difference this year is that there are 8 teams going to BlizzCon instead of 12. There's only 8 instead of 12. So that's, if you guys are wondering where those slots went, they're not putting them somewhere else. The slots literally just disappeared. There has been BlizzCons before where there's 8 teams. I'm not exactly sure how they would do it. So if there was 2 point earners from EU and NA, that's 4 teams right there. And then if they had 1 team qualify from each LAN, such as they did last year, that'd be 6 teams. That would only leave 2 teams for, the other regions, which doesn't seem quite fair. So I'm not 100% sure how they would do it, but yeah, it's gonna be really tough. So getting to BlizzCon is going to be harder than BlizzCon for the first year ever, in my opinion. So I do think that there's a lot of problems with the system. And that's kind of why I wanted to make this video, is to truly express how I felt. and to get the opinion of how viewers felt, and potentially to even get the opinion how other competitors feel. You know, when I first got this this message, I'm just sitting here in my team call saying like, holy shit, like is this real? Only 1 point earner? I'm going to play in 12 online tournaments, and if I'm not first, I'm last? Literally? I can't even imagine a world where the move doesn't make it to BlizzCon last year because they were 30 points behind us. You know? Arguably the best team in North America not going to BlizzCon. You know what I mean? We got last place at both LANs last year, chat. We got last place at both LANs and won BlizzCon. You know, it feels like there's no room for error, and you know, maybe some people are kind of sitting back saying like, you know, if you're not first, you don't deserve to go type thing, but I just don't know if I agree. I don't know if I agree. Sometimes brackets aren't in your favor. Sometimes, you know, mistakes happen. But yeah, Born Good saying it's too top heavy. It definitely feels like it feels like it's really, really, I don't even know how to explain it. It just feels really, really insane. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Talladega quotes right there, dude. Ricky Bobby, baby. So the system as a whole, I'm happy to see there are more online tournaments, but I'm not happy to see the structure that they're in because I feel like the structure is very demanding. I'm happy to see that there will be a prize pool to BlizzCon this year. I'm not happy to see that it's not guaranteed. And I also feel like I'm not happy to see that the incentive for the increased prize pool is off a toy, which I feel like personally isn't that interesting. Obviously, I'm going to buy it because I'm going to support WoW Esports. So, yeah. And I also don't like that I feel like the 2 LANs worth 50K are going to be harder to win than BlizzCon. So it feels like getting to BlizzCon is going to be more difficult than BlizzCon itself. So there's some things that I like. There's some things that I don't like. I'm not trying to make this, you know, complain video. I'm just more or less trying to help people understand how I feel as a competitor, as a player. And I would like to get thoughts of other players and viewers. That's just all that this is going to be. So would definitely like to hear you guys' thoughts via comments or in my Twitch chat. Thanks.